1. The desperate signal. The distress signal should never have reached Sol. Not because it was weak. Not because it was encrypted. But because no one in the galaxy was stupid enough to ask for help from humans. And yet it came. A signal so desperate, so filled with terror, that it burned through the void like a dying star's final scream. The Athari Accord, the largest coalition of civilized species, had fallen silent. Their fleets? Vanished. Their planets? Burning. The enemy? Something worse than war. Worse than extinction. It was something that broke minds before it even reached bodies. And so, in the darkest moment of the war, someone, some poor damned soul, sent out a final desperate message. It was short, simple, hopeless. Is anyone left? Please. Help us. They did not expect an answer, but they got one. To humanity wakes. The message reached Earth. A planet the galaxy had spent centuries ignoring, fearing, avoiding at all costs. A world classified as a death world of the highest order. A place where life itself fought tooth and nail to survive. A place that had given birth to the most unstoppable force the galaxy had ever known. Humans. When the message arrived, the Terran High Command listened. They did not ask why. They did not ask how. They only asked one question. Where? And in the black void of space, a war machine long dormant began to stir. 3. The fleet that should not exist. The Athari Accord had long believed humanity was a non-threat. Yes, they were strong. Yes, they were dangerous. But they were isolated. They were never invited into galactic politics, never asked to join in wars. They were monsters, but monsters best left alone. The galaxy believed humanity had no fleets, no standing armies, no interest in conquest. They were wrong. Because the moment the signal reached Earth, an armada moved from the shadows. Ships unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Not sleek, not elegant like the fleets of the Accord. These were hulking monstrosities of war. Armor thicker than city walls. Weapons designed to kill gods. Engines that tore through space like hungry beasts. They had not been built for expansion. They had not been built for diplomacy. They had been built for one purpose only: genocide. And for the first time in recorded history, those ships moved. The Deathworlders had answered the call. And the universe shuddered. 4. Arrival. The Athari homeworld was already lost. The streets, once filled with life, were now twisted landscapes of nightmare. The enemy had come as a whisper, a shadow. They did not conquer. They consumed. The Athari warriors, some of the finest in the galaxy, had fallen in hours. Their defenses? Meaningless. Their fleets? Shattered before they even had a chance to fire. The enemy was something beyond war. Something old. Something unstoppable. And just as the last city fell to silence, the sky split open, a tear in the void, and through it the monsters of Earth descended. For the first time the enemy paused. For the first time they hesitated, because they had never felt fear. Not until now. Because war had come to them. Because humanity had arrived. And nothing would ever be the same again. 1. The monster's first roar. The Athari homeworld had already fallen. Its proud towers now crumbled into burning wreckage. Its mighty fleets, once symbols of power, drifted in silence. The enemy had taken everything. They had never lost a war. Never faced an opponent who could stand against them. Until now. Until humanity arrived. The first Terran dreadnought entered orbit, and the sky itself caught fire. From its belly, a voice shook the entire planet. A warning. A promise. We are not here to save you. We are here to end this. And then the bombardment began. 2. The first strike. The enemy had no name. No banners. No insignia. They were pure destruction. An ancient swarm of mind-devouring horrors, known only in myths and warnings. To them, every species was just another meal. Another forgotten civilization crushed beneath their advance. But humans? Humans were something else. And the first plasma-laced kinetic strike proved it. One Terran shell flattened an entire hive cluster. Another tore through mountains, vaporizing thousands. And yet, humanity did not stop. They came not with diplomacy, not with mercy, but with fire. 3. When the enemy broke. The first ground forces touched down like thunder. Massive armored juggernauts wielding weapons that defied logic. Each Terran soldier fought like an army. They did not retreat. They did not break. They did not stop. The swarm poured toward them, millions of bodies moving as one. It did not matter. Humanity had evolved alongside monsters. They knew how to kill them. Within minutes, the battlefield turned red. Within an hour, the swarm, which had never lost a war, was in full retreat. For the first time in galactic history, the predators had become the prey. 4. Humanity's true nature. The Athari, watching from the ruins, could not believe what they saw. The swarm had crushed entire civilizations. The swarm had broken the greatest warriors in the galaxy. But against humanity? They were running. One Athari elder, barely clinging to life, whispered a single truth. They are not like us. They are not fighting to survive. They are fighting to make sure nothing like this ever happens again. And as the last swarm ships fled into the void, humanity sent one final message. You called us. Now you will never forget us. And with that, the chase began. Because humanity was not finished. Not yet. 1. The hunt begins. The swarm was running. For the first time in their history, they had been broken. Their once unstoppable tide of destruction had met something worse. Something relentless. Something merciless. Something that had learned long ago that survival meant hunting down the threat until nothing remained. The Terran fleet did not stop at the Athari homeworld. They did not stop when the enemy fled beyond the system's edge. Because humans do not stop until the job is done. The chase had begun. And the galaxy had never seen anything like it. 2. The rules of war do not apply. The Athari Accord had always followed a strict code of war. Honor. Rules of engagement. Prisoners. Diplomacy. Humanity? They came from a death world. They did not fight wars. They ended threats. The first swarm fleet tried to regroup in deep space. They sent signals across the void, calling for reinforcements, trying to reclaim their former strength. It did not matter. The Terran fleet dropped out of FTL and tore into them like wolves into wounded prey. Human ships did not fight from a distance. They closed in. They rammed. They boarded. And when the enemy ships were finally dead, a single human transmission echoed across the system. You will never regroup. You will never rebuild. This is not war. This is extinction. And the swarm finally understood what real fear felt like. 3. The burning of worlds. The swarm had left scars across the galaxy. Entire civilizations erased. Planets reduced to nothing but lifeless husks. It was their way. Their hunger. But humanity did not forget. The Terran fleet moved through those same ruins, scanning for signs of the swarm. And when they found swarm-breeding worlds, planets where their numbers had once replenished endlessly, they burned them. Not with orbital strikes. Not with slow, systematic bombardments. But with weapons designed to end entire planets. The Terran fleet did not just fight. They erased. With each burning world, the swarm screamed across the void, pleading for mercy. But mercy had never been part of the plan. For the last broadcast, across the galaxy, the message spread. It was not a declaration of victory. It was not a plea for surrender. It was a warning. A final message that every species would remember. Earth's final law is simple. You may fear us, you may hate us, but if you ever bring war to our doorstep, we will erase you. And from that day forward, the galaxy had a new law. A silent, unspoken rule. There were no more distress signals sent to Sol. No more alliances sought with Deathworlders. Because the universe had seen what happened when humans truly answered a call for help. And no one wanted to see it again. Ever. 1. The final stand. The swarm had nowhere left to run. Humanity had chased them across the stars. Every escape route cut off. Every hidden world burned. Every last attempt to regroup shattered before it could begin. And now, the swarm's final fleet stood at the edge of the galactic rim, backed against the event horizon of a massive black hole. They had chosen this battlefield not to win, but to die on their own terms. To make humanity pay a final price. They sent out a transmission, their first and last act of communication. We cannot stop you. But we will not die alone. The Terran fleet arrived seconds later. And the last battle began. 2. Humanity's true wrath. There were no speeches. No offers of surrender. No hesitation. Humanity had already decided the swarm's fate. And when Terran dreadnoughts surged forward, their weapons firing in perfect synchronization, the void itself trembled. Every Terran vessel fought like a beast unleashed. Every shot designed to kill. The swarm launched their final counterattack, but against humanity's relentless firepower, it was like throwing sand into a storm. They had hunted the galaxy for thousands of years. Now they were the ones being devoured. And Earth did not stop. 3. The black hole's gift. The swarm's last desperate act was to drag humanity down with them. As their ships collapsed under the bombardment, their remaining commanders sent their fleet into full acceleration. A final suicide charge. Not at the human ships, but at the black hole itself. A gravitational trap meant to pull the entire battle into oblivion. It was their last gambit, their last defiance. But humanity was not so easily outmaneuvered. Even as the swarm was pulled toward the event horizon, the Terran fleet executed their final command. A coordinated retreat. Every jump drive activating in perfect unity. In a single moment, the swarm's fleet vanished into the abyss. Not a single ship remained. And humanity stood victorious. For a galaxy forever changed. The war was over. The swarm and empire of nightmares was gone. But humanity? Humanity did not celebrate. They had not fought for power. They had not fought for conquest. They had fought to erase a threat. And they had succeeded. The galaxy would never be the same. For generations to come, stories would be whispered of the Deathworlders. Of how they answered the call. Of how they hunted monsters. And of how they became the new thing to fear. The end. This was just one war. The galaxy still trembles. Don't miss what comes next. Subscribe now.